Where are you watching when it comes to actually getting a hostage ceasefire deal?
Well, Emma, Sean, Blaine, all good to be with all of you. I think this is, a critical point. And I was in Israel week before last when President Trump's statement came out on Truth Social, demanding their immediate release of the hostages, not so much bring them home as let them go. And that was like a breath of fresh air going through Israel. It's what they needed to hear from American leadership. We've had 15 months of just hand-wringing and internal debate in the Biden administration, rather, with the administration tacking on calls for more humanitarian aid to the Palestinians to any request for the hostages. But I think President Trump's clarity is actually going to bring them home. And I think that his threat of all hell to pay, if they're not back by January 20th, is something Hamas should take very seriously.
Yeah, General, your overall reaction to President-elect Trump taking on this press briefing. Remember, this was supposed to be about a $100 billion investment, creating 100,000 jobs, an economic briefing of sorts with questions on that. It was exactly what you remembered from years prior within this role of letting each reporter ask whatever they'd like, and he's reacting right off the cuff. And he's also giving a very harsh reality to Hamas in that moment.
What we're seeing is a president now who really understands the levers of power and how Washington worked, what didn't work the first time. You can tell by his picks on the team, but you could see how confident and at ease he is at that podium. He knows where the questions are going to be and how they're going to be framed, and he just takes the answers right through them to the American people. It's very refreshing. But on the hostage issue, he's very serious, and the man follows through on his promises, and he always has. Therefore, there is credibility in his words. The deterrence in his words are there. I think Hamas will respond favorably in terms of releasing the hostages because they're at their end. They're in the ninth inning. The Israeli army has done what they needed to do. But once that gets going, they're going to meet members of U.S. Special Forces, and it could get far worse for those harboring their political leaders in other countries, such as Qatar and possibly Turkey.
Yeah, great point. The Times of Israel is also reporting that Hamas is fearful that Trump would allow Israel to resume fighting in Gaza after the first phase of a three-stage ceasefire that's being negotiated. Victoria, you think there's truth to this reporting? How do you see it?
I like any reporting that says Hamas is fearful. I think they should be fearful. I think they caused all of this on October 7th. But the other encouraging thing, Emma, that's happened recently is Hamas apparently in these discussions has conceded that Israeli forces need to remain in Gaza, that their precondition before that all Israelis unilaterally withdraw from Gaza has been dropped. That is a huge step towards an acceptable arrangement for Israel, because they have to be able to keep the peace in Gaza. The last thing we want is for Hamas to regroup, rearm, and do this again, which is what they will do if given permission to. So I think they should be scared of President Trump. They should, in fact, feel a sense of impending doom. I think they will see all of the funding cut off for all of their support networks, whether it be World Central Kitchen, which is 10% Hamas, or the United Nations Relief Works Agency, which is more than 10% Hamas. All that money gets cut off. Day one, it's over. And if they want to save themselves, they can let all the hostages go. Otherwise, I think things will go very poorly for them.
Yeah, moving on from Hamas and Israel to Russia, Ukraine. I'm sure it wasn't lost on you, General, that the president was asked a question about speaking with Russian President Vladimir Putin, and he declined to comment multiple times on that.
That's exactly right. He's going to keep that up because diplomatic conversations are very sensitive in nature, and that's a place where President Trump would do well. Keeping his cards very close until Inauguration Day, when he needs to find the leverage that he's going to have to start to put this thing into an off-ramp or a de-escalatory motion. We don't know what that's exactly going to look like, but there are certainly motivations that Russia has to get done with this war as well, including their economy, which is just absolutely obliterated. The European economy is obliterated. You saw that the Olaf Scholz government got a no confidence vote yesterday. So there's the elements that we can put this together, and I think that President Trump does well to keep that stuff close to the vest.